Wednesday, 16 February, The Gap News This Morning, broadcasting live from Kuala Lumpur, I'm Ghazali Abdullah. Good morning. First, the headlines. COVID-19, numbers still above 20,000. Court orders Immigration Department to halt deportation of ex-Bangladeshi envoy. Newborn stabbing, 15-year-old rejected bail, detained under police custody. Economists expect EPF dividends of 5.2 to 6%. Court throws out government's challenge on girls' citizenship. US warns against going to South Korea, Indonesia over virus. Ukraine crisis, no sign of Russian de-escalation yet. Trudeau vows to freeze anti-mandate protesters' bank accounts. And Novak Djokovic, I'm not anti-vax, but will sacrifice trophies if told to get jabbed. Malaysia registered 22,133 new COVID-19 infections in the last 24 hours. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said 99.34% of cases were those in categories 1 and 2. There are 5,831 patients in Category 1 and 16,156 patients who have been listed under Category 2. Dr. Noor Hisham said Categories 3, 4 and 5 made up 0.66% or 146 of yesterday's new infections. The High Court has granted an interim order against the Immigration Department from deporting former Bangladeshi envoy Muhammad Hairuzaman to Dhaka. Judge Muhammad Zaini Mazlan granted the order during case management of Hairuzaman's habeas corpus application yesterday. Hairuzaman is wanted in Bangladesh for undisclosed reasons, but his wife Rita Rahman had contended that his arrest was politically motivated by the Bangladesh government. The Kemaman Magistrates Court has rejected a bail application for a 15-year-old rape victim who recently made headlines in Terengganu for stabbing the baby she gave birth to. Her lawyer, Nuraini Hatika Shafi, said the court did not provide any reason for the rejection after she filed the submission. The teenager will now be taken under police custody, with the next case management to be heard only a month from now on March 16. Naraini said the girl was earlier charged under Section 302 of the Penal Code for murder. For murder, trial must be conducted. She understood the charge, the lawyer told The Vibes. Section 388 of the Criminal Procedure Code stipulates that the court may direct any person under the age of 16, or any woman or any sick or infirm person accused of a non-bailable offence to be released on bail. The 15-year-old girl, who was reported to have been pregnant after being raped, was arrested after the police found a dead newborn baby at a house in Kemaman on February 8. The Employees Provident Fund (EPF) is expected to declare a handsome dividend payout for 2021, ranging between 5.2% and 6% on the back of the fund's higher gross investments and better capital market performance, economists said. Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad Chief Economist Muhammad Afzal Nizam Abdul Rashid said the EPF's gross investments for the first 9 months of 2021 were already 7.7% year-on-year at 48.02 billion, compared with the same period in 2020. The Court of Appeal upheld a High Court ruling that a girl, now 15, born to a Malaysian father and Filipino mother, is a Malaysian citizen. Judge M. Gunalan said the trial judge had interpreted the law correctly and appreciated the facts before her in coming to the decision. We do not agree with the respondents, that is, the government, that the judge had erroneously construed the articles of the Federal Constitution and Second Schedule before arriving in her decision. Yesterday's ruling also means that the High Court's order that the girl be issued with a citizenship certificate and identification card has to be complied with. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, yesterday advised against travel to 6 countries and territories, including South Korea, Azerbaijan, and Belarus due to widespread COVID-19. The CDC also added Comoros, French Polynesia, and Saint Pierre and Miquelon to its risk list of level 4 very high. The U.S. State Department also raised its travel advisory rating for South Korea, Indonesia, and Azerbaijan to level 4 do not travel. In total, CDC lists about 140 countries and territories at the highest warning level, including Canada, all of Europe, and almost all of Latin America, with COVID levels due to the Omicron variant declining, but still high in many countries. Russia's defense ministry says some troops positioned on the border with Ukraine are returning to their bases after completing drills. It raises hopes that tensions could ease, but military exercises continue, and it's unclear how many units are being withdrawn. The head of the NATO Defense Alliance says he hasn't seen de-escalation yet, but that signals from Moscow give some cause for optimism. President Vladimir Putin tells the news conference that Russia does not want war in Europe, but repeated claims of genocide in breakaway areas of eastern Ukraine without providing evidence. UK PM Boris Johnson says there are mixed signals coming from Russia and that the intelligence on Ukraine is still not encouraging. The EU says it's willing to discuss Russia's security concerns, but warns a key Russian gas pipeline to Germany would not become operational in the event of war. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has taken the unprecedented step of invoking the Emergencies Act to crack down on anti-vaccine mandate protests. Mr. Trudeau said the scope of the measures would be time-limited, reasonable and proportionate, and would not see the military deployed. With no need for a court order, banks will be able to freeze personal accounts of anyone linked with the protests. Hundreds of demonstrators remain in Canada's capital city. On Sunday, law enforcement cleared anti-mandate protesters at the Ambassador Bridge in Windsor, a critical pathway for Canada-US trade, after a week-long stalemate. What began as a rally against a new rule that all truckers must be vaccinated to cross the US-Canada border or quarantine upon return has grown into a broader challenge to all COVID health restrictions. And now for some sports news. Novak Djokovic has said he would rather miss out on future tennis trophies than to be forced to get a COVID vaccine. Speaking exclusively to the BBC, he said he should not be associated with the anti-vax movement, but supported an individual's right to choose. Djokovic was asked if he would sacrifice taking part in competitions such as Wimbledon and the French Open over his stance on the vaccine. "Yes, that is the price I'm willing to pay," he said. The 20-time Grand Slam winner was deported from Australia last month after the government cancelled his visa in a row over his vaccine status. Djokovic, who is the world's #1 men's tennis player, said he had obtained a medical exemption to enter the country to play in the Australian Open, as he had recently recovered from COVID-19. To end the bulletin, here are the headlines again. COVID-19 numbers still above 20,000. Court orders Immigration Department to halt deportation of ex-Bangladeshi envoy. Newborn stabbing, 15-year-old rejected bail, detained under police custody. Economists expect EPF dividends of 5.2 to 6%. Court throws out government's challenge on girls' citizenship. U.S. warns against going to South Korea, Indonesia over virus. Ukraine crisis, no sign of Russian de-escalation yet. Trudeau vows to freeze anti-mandate protesters' bank accounts. And Novak Djokovic, I'm not anti-vax, but will sacrifice trophies if told to get jab. This has been the Gap News this morning, Wednesday, 16 February. Broadcasting live from Kuala Lumpur, I'm Ghazali Abdullah.